Hello and welcome to another edition of Howard's Horse Handicapping. This is Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Boy, do we have a great show tonight. I've got so many things I want to talk about, especially the races at the Fairgrounds in New Orleans this Saturday. We're going to explore all of the stake races, especially later in the card, the late pick five. It's going to be a tremendous show. I need you to do several things for me to start the show. First of all, please make sure you subscribe down below there on the in the corner of the channel there in the corner of the screen. We need to get those subscriptions up. I want to hear from you. Also, there's going to be a chat on the left side of the screen. The only way we can get you guys going here and have a great show is a lot of chatter. I want to hear a lot of chatter. I want to see a lot of people talking about the races that I'm going to discuss, putting in comments, and also please make sure you follow me on Twitter at H Kravitz. There's a lot of reasons to follow me on Twitter. One of the main reasons is because after scratches on Saturday, I'll be giving out some opinions and some changes to the races and my picks based on what's going on. So let me briefly, before we get into the races, let me tell you just a little bit about what's happening in the next few days. I will be putting up a recap of Saturday's races later this weekend after they occur on my YouTube channel. But then I'm taking a little trip next week. I'm going to Las Vegas. That's right, Sin City. Here I come. It's been a trip that I've been planning for a long time. They only have 50% capacity there. It's not quite the same, but it's a trip I planned for a long time. I've got both my vaccine shots. I'm fully vaccinated, ready to go. I haven't taken a trip in a while. I'm ready to go out there and enjoy everything that Las Vegas has to offer. I've never been out there for the NCAA tournament games, so I'm really excited. I'll put a few dollars down in those tournament games. Going to play some golf. I like Texas Hold'em also. Play a little poker and just relax and have a nice time out there. If you happen to live in the Las Vegas area, or by chance if you're going to be out in Las Vegas from about Sunday to Thursday of next week, please send me a direct message on Twitter at HKravitz. We'll sit down, we'll have a beverage, talk some horse racing. I'd love it for a chance to meet you. So again, if by chance you're going to be out there, that's great. What I also need you to do tonight, down below, either in the video player, if you're watching this after the live stream, or if you're watching this on the live stream right now, I need two things for you. Again, whether you're on the live stream or whether you're going to be watching this later tonight on Thursday or Friday on Saturday, I need you to do two things for me. I want two long shots. Number one, give me a lower seed in the NCAA tournament, a team that you like to maybe advance and to upset some people. Maybe not win the whole thing, but to make a big run. That Cinderella team that you like. Please put that comment on that in the chat, or you can put it down below the video player. So it's sort of your long shot NCAA basketball pick, and also who is your long shot for the Derby right now? I know what you're saying, Howard. We don't even know who's in the Derby right now. I get it. I know, but there's got to be a horse on your radar. Don't give me Life is Good. Okay? Don't give me Essential Quality. I want a bomber who can fill out the try or the super in the Derby. A horse you've been following, a horse that you think is interesting. I've put a little bit of future bets down already on the Derby on some horses. I can tell you a horse that I'm very interested in the Derby, and that horse is Collaborate. Collaborate won a big maiden race at Gulfstream. He's going to be running in the Florida Derby, so I'm very interested in that horse. Right now, I think he's like 30 to 1, 25 to 1 in the future bets. So when I come back from Vegas next Thursday night, now it's probably going to be a little bit later. Right now, I'm tentatively thinking about a 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central. So we'll probably go an hour later next week, but we'll have a huge live stream preview of Florida Derby Day. All eyes are going to be focused on Gulfstream next weekend, and so I will be doing a live stream a week from tonight It's probably going to start, check for Twitter and announcements, but I'm planning on starting that at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, an hour later on Thursday, just to make sure I get back from traveling and everything is going to be good. So I'm already looking right now on the screen. I see that we have a lot of people already joining the show. Thank you very much. Again, comment in the chat. Of course, anything about the picks tonight that I'm going to be talking about in the races at Fairgrounds, but also that long shot team you like in the NCAA tournament and that long shot that you like right now in the Kentucky Derby. So, before we jump in to the late pick five at Fairgrounds, a little bit of information for you about Saturday. Weather. First of all, uh, today, tomorrow, and Saturday at the Fairgrounds, it's going to be clear. Looks like there's no rain, mid 60s, no problem there. However, just to let you know, yesterday they had a huge thunderstorm last night at the Fairgrounds. They got about 1.2 inches of rain in about an hour and a half. So it wasn't like a steady, constant rain all day, but they did get a very healthy rain yesterday, Wednesday night. I'm expecting the turf to be probably good. I don't think it's to be yielding. They've got 2.5 days for it to dry out. It's definitely not going to be firm. They might list it as firm, but it's not going to be firm. So just keep in mind that the turf course should have some moisture in it for Saturday. The dirt should be fast, and I'm expecting uh, it. Hopefully, it's going to be fair because that's what we want to see on these big days all the time. So we are going to jump right in to the pick five sequence. Now, the pick five and the pick four both have guarantees, I believe, of $750,000 in the pool. I know some of you prefer pick fours over pick fives. I get it. I'm going to be playing a pick five, maybe even a pick four, because I have some very, very interesting, strong opinions. I've spent a lot of time. You guys know me. I do my research, I do my handicapping. And so I have some strong opinions. I might play the pick five and the pick four. We shall see. So let's jump right in to the pick five sequence. Now, the pick five sequence, like I said, it's going to start in race 10. So let's transition over to race 10. The pick five sequence will start in race 10. This is a turf non-graded stake. It's $150,000 Tom Benson Memorial. It's a mile 16th on the turf. And let me just tell you flat out that of the 5 races, this one might actually be the toughest one. Now, I've talked about on this show that if the first race, the first leg of the pick five is very spready, is very difficult, you might want to think about just playing the pick four. However, I'm going to be pretty thin later in the pick five sequence. And not only that, I think you can absolutely get some prices here in this first leg of the pick five. So I'd recommend if you have the budget, you play the pick five because I think this is going to be a heck of a sequence. I'd also recommend as we go through, I had a recap show of a month ago on my channel of these races. A great thing to do, and I'm going to be showing a few replays from my weekend recap show about a month ago. I highly recommend you watch that show. It's only about half an hour, and it was about a month ago. So you can just reiterate some of the things that we are going to be talking about here. Khan, I see you here. Khan, thanks for joining the show. Khan, I know you mentioned that you live in Las Vegas. I'd love to meet you, have a beverage. Please send me a direct message on Twitter, Con, and we will communicate with each other. Again, at H Kravitz is my Twitter handle. I might have a chance to meet Con, who actually lives out there in Las Vegas. He likes Wayburn, who just won this. It was last weekend, I believe. He won the Gotham at in New York. I'm assuming he's pointed uh, towards the Wood Memorial. Anyway, let's go to the first leg. Now, this is a very contentious and deep field. There are 13 horses signed on. Now, there are a lot of horses coming out of the Alston Memorial on February 13th, a month ago. A lot of these horses ran. So I have to show you the replay because it's going to be very important. Now, the replay I'm going to show you. This is this is actually straight from um, my preview show, as you can see on the top left there. This is straight from my preview show a month ago. So the one is His Glory. The two also is Temple City Terror. The three is Past the Plate in this race. The seven, by the way, is Delika. Now the seven is the morning line favorite in this race. Delika is 3-1 morning line in the race on Saturday. And then the 10, Joy Epifora. So we're just going to go ahead and watch this race here again. And you need to pay attention to the 10. Some of you might actually remember this race. This was a month ago. Again, 1, 2, 3, 7, 10 are all planning to run on Saturday. And what I think you should glean from this, I want you to especially watch two horses. The 2 and the 10 are the horses you absolutely want to watch in this race. You see His Glory on the lead. Delika, the 7, got an absolute perfect trip. And I picked her on top in this race um, a month ago. I do not like her at all on Saturday. Again, every race tells its own story, and I really do not like the 7, Delika, in tomorrow's race. But you see they head down the backstretch. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here. And what you see in the home stretch, keep your eye on the 10 on the inside. I believe it was James Graham. The 10 has a ton of horse. She tried to split and she just couldn't get there, and she gets cut off. Um, right, right there. You see she got cut off. There was an inquiry. Delika stayed up. But the 2 and the 3 from that matter, but the 2 who came all the way from last made a big close in this race, as well as the 3. And you can see the finish right there at the wire. Uh, the 10 you see finishes only about 2 lengths back with a lot of trouble. And there's the 2, Temple City Terror, and 3, Past the Plate. So those were the horses there coming out of that race. Now, why don't I like Delika? Delika, who is the 7 in that race, is the 3 in the race on Saturday. First of all, there are some fresh faces in this race that did not race a month ago. Fresh faces. Dominga, the 2, for Brad Cox, who's off a layoff, was not in the race last Saturday. Logic and Reason, who I don't like, but it is Christopher Clement. She's in the race. Fresh face. Winter's Sunset, another fresh face, a layoff horse for Catalano. There you see Temple City Terror, who is the 2 in the race we just watched. Joy Epifora. Now let me just say this. I tend to be a little bit critical of morning lines. I've never made a morning line for a card, so I know it's a much more difficult job than it looks. But I'm going to tell you right now, folks, there is no chance in hell that Joy Epifora is going to be 15 to 1 on Saturday. If Joy Epifora is 15 to 1 on Saturday, folks, I would put a very healthy win bet on this horse because you just saw the trouble. I'm fully convinced Joy Epifora was the best horse in that race a month ago, and I have no doubt about it. I used Joy Epifora actually as a B a month ago, and I would have been very happy if she won the race, but you saw the trouble she got into. Other fresh faces. There's Past the Plate, by the way, who was the 3 in the race we just watched. Russian Mafia, who I don't like, but is a fresh face. Winning Envelope. Pretty good horse for Chris Block. Did not race, was not in this race a month ago. Dream a Little Dream of You. Interesting horse. Was not in the race. Actually has speed also. Catch a Bid was not in the race. Can show some speed. And Summer in Saratoga. So what am I trying to say? In general, I'm not so sure I love the horses coming out of the race we just watched, except for Joy Epifora. So I am using 5 horses as A's in this race. Let me just run down my 5 I'm using. I'm going to use Temple City Terror as an A. You see she got her buyer top there at 85. I think there's enough speed in this race, and she closed best a month ago. I do like her at a little bit of a price on Saturday. I'm absolutely, excuse me, using Joy Epifora as an A. And again, you don't have to write these down, folks. I will show you my ABC and Caveman ticket at the end of the show. I'm definitely using the 7 as a strong A. Joy Before is one of my long shots that I like a lot on Saturday. I hope I get that price. I don't think we're going to. I also will you be using A, Past the Plate, as an A. Again, closed into a pretty slow pace. She was the 3 in the race that we just watched. I'm going to use the 11, Dream a Little Dream of You. This is for Brad Cox and CJ Hernandez. I like the progression this horse is showing. She's got tactical speed. I think she's got a lot of upside, and I want a horse that's going to be showing some speed in this race also. I'm going to use the 11 as an A, and I'm also going to use the 12, Catch a Bid, as an A. Catch a Bid ran poorly last time, but that was her first start since August. She used to be trained by Chad Brown, and now she's trained by Joe Sharp. Now, obviously, that's a trainer downgrade. Chad Brown's the best turf trainer in the country, but Joe Sharp is capable. My thinking is this horse definitely has numbers that fit, and that she just needed that race. And I like Louis Saez on her, and I think she's going to be better going a little bit longer, and she has to be better second off the layoff. I'm using the 12 Catch a Bid also as an A. As B horses, and I'm sorry for scrolling so fast, I'm going to use Dominga, the 2, as a B for Brad Cox. And I have some very interesting stats on uh, for Brad Cox. So this horse has not run since August of last year. That's a pretty healthy layoff. With this lengthy a layoff in non-graded turf stakes, non-graded turf stakes off this type of layoff, Brad Cox is only 1 for 11. Now it's a pretty small sample size there, but again, Brad Cox only 1 for 11 with this move coming off a layoff and a non-graded stakes on the turf. However, there's mixed signals because he's 20% off the layoff with Giroux on. So when he puts Giroux on a horse off this layoff on the turf, just in all races, not stake races, but in all races, he's 20%. So there are some mixed messages there. It's just too long a layoff for me to put this horse in as an A. Of course, she can win, but the layoff scares me a little bit. So she's a B for me. The other horse I'm going to use as a B is Winning Envelope. Now, Chris Block is an excellent trainer. A month ago, if you remember, he won with Captivating Moon at like 40 to 1 that blew up the pick 4 and pick 5. I didn't have for that day. She's actually running, or excuse me, he's running also on Saturday. We'll get to him. Winning Envelope, first of all, he's got Jose Ortiz, but it just seems to me this horse might be a little better sprinting. You see, she got some big numbers. Chris Block decided to start sprinting her because in general she just was a bit disappointing going long. And she ran some big races in grade threes. It might be a mistake for me not to have this horse as an A. So I'm just going to see how I feel in general after scratches and whatnot. But I'm going to use Winning Envelope as a B because I think she might be better going shorter. And I have seahorses too. Like I said, it's a spread race. I'm using Winter Sunset as a C, who again is off a very long layoff. It's a shame that this horse has been a little ouchy because she's brought off the charts out of Win Memories and Tap It. Um, she was okay, but in general, her whole career has been a bit disappointing. She was meant to be a superstar. She didn't race. She was off a year in her last start. Now she's off another, 6 months. So this is her second race in a year and a half or so. Um, that's just not an angle that I like at all. But just in case she fires, I'm gonna use her as a C. I see Peter Appleby is here. Peter, thanks for joining us tonight. Um, Peter wants to know, is Joy Before possibly an underneath horse? He said, I know about the trouble, but she hasn't shown that closing kick against these types. Um, I gotta tell you, I think she did show the closing kick last time, Peter, in my opinion. I mean, she was sawed off. I think she wins that race by 2 and gets a buyer. I mean, it's hard to say, but she gets a high 80s buyer in that last race, in my opinion, if she gets through. I know the trip is part of it. Yeah, Peter makes a good point. I mean, was she disappointing last year? I don't know. She had one race on the turf at Saratoga against Blowout and Sweet By and By, nice horses, and Catch a Bid, and she got an 85 buyer. I don't know. I don't see any reason why she doesn't fit here, Peter. I appreciate your opinion, and you could be correct. But that trouble line last time was just too much for me to ignore. So I think this is absolutely a spread race. Um, do what you need to do in this race. If you're playing a pick five, I think you have to spread. But I guess the main point that I want to make out of this race is I am completely against Alika. I view Alika as a seahorse just because she got a perfect trick last time. She's a bit inconsistent. I don't know if she's good this year as she was last year. There's other speed in the race. She's the morning line favorite. I mean, I can go on and on. Of course she can win, guys, but this is gambling, and I just don't like her on Saturday. I think there's a lot of other much more interesting options to go with. All right, so let's go ahead to the next race of the sequence here. Let me just put myself on camera. So there's two horses. I'd say actually three horses. There's three horses on Saturday. I'm very, very interested in as prices. One of them, and the one towards the end of the card is the one that I'm most interested in by far. I'm definitely interested in Joy Epifora. She's 15 to 1 morning line. I don't think you're going to get that price. The other horse I'm interested in is not going to be as big a price, but I think will be overlooked. So let's get to that horse right now, and we have to go to the next race to go there. So let's go to the next race in the pick five sequence. And again, if you have any questions or comments, I see we've got a lot of people watching right now, and I really appreciate you coming on to watch. But any questions you have, any comments you have, please put them in the type them in the chat. And then, of course, don't forget your NCAA pick and your long shot for the Derby also. But obviously, we're going through these races now. If you have any opinions on these races or anything that I say, please put it in the chat. These past performances have been out for quite a while, so I'm hoping a lot of you have had a chance to look through the races. I see Maiden Focus is here. Maiden Focus, thank you for joining us tonight. I know we've talked on Twitter, so thanks for joining the show. I think this is the first time I've seen you on our live stream. Um, Dream Shake, or I'll tell you what, Rock Your World, I'm very interested in. If you don't know Rock Your World has been on turf the last few times. I think he's at a Candy Ride main focus. If you want to correct me if I'm wrong about that. I think he's at a Candy Ride. He's running in the Santa Anita Derby in a few weeks, and I'm very interested in Rock Your World if he gets in. And Dream Shake really ran perfectly fine against that absolute uh, wildebeest. And Life is good last time. So those are good picks, maiden focus. If they have to get in, I don't think either one of them are in the Derby right now, though. They're going to have to perform well in their last race. All right, second leg of the pick five, the Grade 2 New Orleans Classic. This is a mile and an eighth, older males on dirt, $400,000 purse. This is a small field. This is an 8-horse field, and I'm not going to get too cute in this race except for one horse. My two A's in this race are the two horses you see on the screen right now. Let's just go in order by morning line. The two Owendale's 9 to 5 morning line. He's going to be the favorite in this race. I'm also positive. Um, I've never been a huge fan of this horse. He's a bit of a nibbler, and I actually think he might be better going shorter. But when you compare him to the other horses in this race, he's definitely the class. He looks like he's best on paper. I would never put a win bet on this horse, but he's absolutely going to be an A for me in this spot. He's also a closer in a race that does not have a lot of speed. So he's got a few things going against him, but this is not the this is a pretty weak grade 2 actually, I would say. And so Owendale is a must use as an A. The other A I'm going to use is Roadster. Now, Roadster used to be trained by Bob Baffert, as you can see. As a 3-year-old, he won the Santa Anita Derby. He raced in the Kentucky Derby. Didn't race well, but he was, 11 and a half to 1 in the Kentucky Derby in 2019. Um, After the Derby, he was a bit disappointing, as you can see, and he has not raced in a year. Now, Michael Stidham is now the trainer for Roadster. Michael Sidham is an excellent trainer. He trains Mystic Guide, who will be the favorite um, in Dubai next week. Oh, by the way, I also want to mention on the live stream next weekend, not only are we going to talk about the card at Gulfstream, but I'm also going to preview the Dubai World Cup because that's always an interesting race. I have a love affair with that race that I'll talk about next week on the show. But again, I will give you selections for the Dubai World Cup on the show live stream next weekend. But anyway, back to Mike Sidham. He's got Mystic Guide running next week, the favorite in Dubai. Let me give you a few stats on Michael Sidham. Um, First of all, Michael Sidham as a trainer with a new acquisition. So Stidham with a new horse in his barn, 18%. That is solid. 18% of the win end. With this type of layoff and a new acquisition, he's 20%. So basically, he's around 20% with a new acquisition and this type of layoff. That does not concern me at all. And I'll tell you what I'd like to look at this work pattern. I really like this work pattern. You see a lot. Here's 5 furlongs, 5 furlongs. Here's 4. But here's what I like. He's putting a lot of stamina building works into this horse. You got three 6 furlong breezes, all a minute and 12. I do not have information about how good he looked on the track or any workout reports, but I do like the fact he's putting this horse into longer-winded works. I think this horse is going to be ready. I would not be surprised if Johnny Velasquez is aggressive and might just go right to the lead. Roadster is an A for me. Now, the other horse I mentioned on the show, there's 3 horses on Saturday I'm interested in betting, on the win end. One was Joy Epifora. The other is Enforceable. Enforceable, the 5 horse on Saturday. Now, you might think I'm crazy, and that's fine. I'm certainly not afraid to, put a horse out there and put my name and money behind it. I have to show you the replay or the end of the last race. Now, he ran his best Beyer top 102 2 starts back and looked fantastic. This is a big, strapping colt. He reminds me a little bit of um, Idol. Idol won the Santa Anita um, handicap last weekend. He reminds me of Idol. I'm not saying he's as talented as Idol, but he's just a big, lumbering type of horse. The problem with Enforceable is I think he's a bit of a goofball right now, and I'll explain what I mean. So I bet him in the last race. He was bad in the Maxfield race. We're gonna take a look at just the end of the race. Enforceable is gonna be the a gray horse here that we're gonna watch, and I need to get it set up here just a second. So we're going to watch the video here. This is the last race, and I'm just going to go right to the spot that I want to go to. Again, he's going to be the 1. He's the gray horse here. So I also need to mention, let me just stop the video here. Uh, the 1 is Enforceable. The 3 is Chess Chief. Chess Chief is also in the race on Saturday. And the 6 is Sonoman. So the 1, 3, and 6 are all running in the race on Saturday. I don't really like the 3 or the 6 at all on Saturday. And the 4 in this race, of course, was Maxfield, who was awesome, but a bit disappointing out at Santa Anita. So again, you look at right now the 1. He's already asking. This horse is lazy. Okay, he's an enigma. Now you're probably wondering why are we watching this race? You see, he's under the whip. He's in the back of the pack. He didn't steady. He had no issues. There was not a trouble line, and you can see he's just galloping along pretty poorly. So I know what you're thinking right now. What are we doing? Why are we wasting time? Just watch the gallop out, guys. Watch the gallop out of this race by the 1. I think it is worth noting. You see Maxfield wins. You see Enforceable all the way in back. Now continue to watch. Watch the screen here. Watch on the right side of the screen on the outside. The race is over. They're all taking up, whatever. And what? What? What was that great? What was that? Did you see that? Hold on a second. What? Enforceable? Guys, Enforceable looked like he had no run at all, right? And it's not like Bashiza was like asking this horse after the wire. He was just galloping on his own. He was not asking this horse to get going. Okay, why would he do that after the wire? This horse galloped out past these horses after the wire. It was completely perplexing to me because I got to be honest, I did like this horse. I just don't understand what happened. So here's my philosophy about Saturday. And again, I could be completely wrong. Enforceable is going to be a B for me. This is just a lazy Enigma horse who's just a goofball who just likes to play around. If you've ever coached youth sports, and I've coached a lot of youth sports in my day, this is like that middle school age kid you've coached, whether it be basketball, baseball, whatever, that, starts looking around. He's not paying attention in practice. If it's outside, maybe he's looking across the field at the cheerleaders. And then he gets in the game, right? And he does some goofball stuff. He misses the cutoff man. He doesn't look at the signs that the third base coach is giving him. And then all of a sudden, he steps to the plate one time and he hits it like 300 feet out of the park. You're like, where did that come from? That's enforceable to me. Okay, I know this horse has talent. I know he's got talent, and he's going to pop at a big price one day. And I think it could be Saturday. Saturday's race is a mile and eighth. Okay, it is longer. I think this horse wants to run all day. I wish the race was a mile and a quarter. I want Bishiz to get this horse into the game. If he gets this horse into the game and is aggressive, I really think this horse has a shot. I could be, of course, absolutely wrong. We're going to find out. But I think Enforceable is an interesting play on Saturday. I hope Bishiza is aggressive with this horse, and he's run a 102 buyer. I think he has it in him. If he can just simply put it together, I'm using Enforceable as a B. All right, let's move on to the next race here. The next race is the Munez Memorial Classic. It's a grade two, a mile and eighth for older males on turf. This is usually an excellent race. There's a lot of usually high quality horses that run here. Some of these horses are running in this race and then will run in the $1 million turf race on Derby Day. So let's talk about the big horse in this race because to me, there's one horse that stands out by a mile, and that's the 5 Colonel Liam. By the way, there is no chance in hell that you're going to get 3-1 on Colonel Liam on Saturday. I would be absolutely shocked. This horse is on fire. This is an up and coming 4-year-old for Pletcher. He won that. He won on Pegasus World Cup Day. He won the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational, getting a great ride, beating large and cross border. Frankly, beating a field that's better than this one. Todd Pletcher has big plans for this horse. I see no reason. Distance is not a problem. I see no reason why he cannot continue to improve. Colonel Liam is my lone A in this race. My only concern, and it's a small concern, but it is a concern. As you can see, he's been on firm turf in every turf start. I don't think you're getting firm turf on Saturday. And not only that, the turf at the fairgrounds is a little bit different. It's sand based. Some horses don't quite take to it. Most horses do, but some don't. So it's a little bit different kind of a turf course, and it's going to have a little moisture in it. That is my only concern. Other than the fact that he's got to get the right trip, it's a big field, blah blah blah. This horse is very good. He's pointed towards that $1 million turf race on Derby Day in about 6 weeks from now. He is my lone A. I think he towers over this field on class, in my opinion, because I think he's just getting better. Frankly, I don't see him regressing. The horse I'm using as a B is Factor This. I liked Factor This last time. He got caught up in some kind of macho speed duel that I talked about on the show. And if you recall, this is the race, and I'm going to show you the end. This is the race that Captivating Moon, as you can see, upset. There's a lot of horses that are coming out of this race. We're going to watch a little bit of the last race. I see Richard is commented on the show. Richard, thank you for commenting. Ollie, my boy, is very interesting. I think it's worth going back real quick. I didn't mention Ollie, my boy. I actually didn't talk about a lot of their horses in the race. But if you do want a fresh face, Ollie, my boy, for Norm Cassie is definitely an improving horse. I'm not sure he classes up right now, Richard, but I think he is an interesting long shot. By the way, I really should mention some other. Captivating Moon, from what I've read, is going to be in the turf race that we're about to talk about. He's going to be scratched out of this race. The other horses, Chess Chief, who I showed you, Mesito Rojo, I don't like at all. Sonoman just doesn't do much for me. I know he was in the race I showed you last time. If you want to use those horses, go ahead. But to me, it's all about the 1 and 2 and maybe enforceable. Anyway, back to the Muniz. Factor this was involved in a crazy speed duel last time. Only lost by 2 lengths. It was his first start after a layoff. I like the effort quite a bit. And I think this horse definitely has a big shot to win. We're going to go ahead and watch the replay of that race very briefly. Actually, we're not going to watch the whole replay. We're just going to watch it 127 here. There's a part of the race I want to watch. Actually, this is right at the start. So this is a month ago. Factor this is the 8 horse. And he's battling all the way. Some other horses you might want to take a look at here. The 6 is Logical Myth. The 6 is running in the race on Saturday. The 9 is Peace Achieved. He's running on Saturday. And the winner of this race, who's also running on Saturday, is the 10. So 6, 8, 9, 10 are horses you might want to watch here. But again, Factor This was battling the entire way through pretty fast fractions on a yielding turf course. And Captivating Moon, who is all the way on the outside, the 10 horse, ends up running them down. Again, a Logical Myth is the 6, sort of in between. The 9 is Peace Achieved. You can see they're all pretty much together there. Factor This, to me, got the worst trip by far, the 8. He was battling the entire way. This was his first start off a layoff. And you see the wire there. Captivating upsets them. And he won the race clearly, but got a dream setup and beat the 6, 8, and 9. I like the 8 a lot more in this race for all the reasons that I've already mentioned in this race. Sorry about that. I want to go back. So, Factor This doesn't mind a little cut in the turf. There's not as much speed in this race, by the way, as there was um, a month ago. Factor This is a B for me. I see Trish. Trish, thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to talk about Spooky Channel. There's a lot of horses in this race that we need to talk about. I don't like the 2. There's Captivating Moon. You see, he got his high buyer top. I would be shocked if he wins. I'm not using him at all on Saturday. If he wins again, I'm just going to throw my hands in the air. I don't know what to say. Cross Border. Cross Border can win. Cross Border is a C for me. The only reason he's a C for me is he just doesn't win very often. He's not a win candidate. He's usually around the money, but he doesn't usually win. He's already 7 years old. I mean, he only lost by 2 lengths to Colonel Liam, but I didn't really think he was a threat there. If you want to move up cross border, I completely understand. This is just not a race I'm getting very cute with. I'm using cross border as a C. There's Colonel Liam. Logical Myth is going to take some money. Yes, he's consistent. He has never faced a horse like Colonel Liam in his life. I think you're seeing about the best he can be right now, and I don't think his best is going to be good enough on Saturday. I'm not using him at all. Again, you have to keep in mind, folks, that I'm playing a pick 5, and you can't use every horse. So you got to take some, chances. You have to make some decisions. 2 Emmys is too slow. Let's talk about Spooky Channel out of respect to Trish, who's chatting on the show. So, Spooky Channel, I've been wrong about so many times, Trish. I mean, when he won at Churchill on the 23rd. He was 8-1. He knocked me out of a bet that day. I just remember very well. When he won the WL McKnight last year, January, he was 36-1. He beat Cross Border. He knocked me out of that bet. Um, since then, I mean, he's pretty consistent. He did win last time in the JB Connolly, so he's cutting back in distance. This race is much tougher than that race. If the pace heats up, and he gets a great ride, I suppose it's possible, Trish. I prefer him underneath a lot more as and then a win candidate. I could definitely see using him as in the trifecta, Trish, but frankly, I don't like him on the win end. And one of the main reasons, again, I don't see a lot of speed in this race. I'm not sure it's going to set up for a closer. Conviction trade. You think he shows speed, but really that's a little misleading. I mean, he'll be. I don't think he's fast enough to really press factor this, but he'll be up relatively close. I just don't think he's nearly classy or fast enough. There's Peace Achieved, who was the 9 horse in the replay race. Olympic Runner is a nice horse. I don't think he wants to go this far, and I think he's going to be much better on firm turf. He's not going to get that. He's bred out of Geoponte. Again, if you want to use Olympic Runner, go ahead. I wouldn't blame you for doing it. I just don't like him at this distance mainly. I think he's much better going a mile. I see Jim has joined us on the show. Jim uses his wife's username there. So, but Jim is there. Jim, thanks for joining us. Um, the jockey change from Leparoux to Giroux. That's a fair point. I mean, I have to say that's an upgrade for sure. I love Giroux. Leparoux, he gives a lot of very, let's just say, interesting rides. But that is a good point by Jim. Trish, you might want to take that in consideration, unless you already have taken that in consideration for sure. Um, that is a big rider change. I will say that. Anyway, I think Limbic Runner is better going longer. Uh, Pixelate. I watched Pixelate. He's coming out of the same race as Colonel Liam. Um, he actually ran well. I can easily see people using Pixelate also uh, in your pick fours. Again, if you're playing a pick four, obviously you can go a lot deeper. Okay. And main focus. We'll get to the Oaks race in just a second here. Um, Again, if you're playing the pick four, I can understand why you'd want to go deep, but you have to decide where you're going to go deep. You can't go deep in every race, and I just have the feeling that Colonel Liam is too good for these horses, and I think Factor This is also very talented. So let me put myself back on screen here as I act as handicapper and director of my own show. So again, you have to make a decision. I mean, you could go, there's 12 horses in this race. I can understand if you're playing a caveman ticket, you want to go 6, 7, 8 deep, go ahead. I personally would not do that. I think Colonel Liam is a standout here. I think Factor This is also very talented. And not only that, there's not a lot of speed in this race, which I think is going to help Factor This tremendously. But if you beat those 2 horses, you're definitely going to get paid in the sequence. I'm just personally not going to be doing it. I don't think that's the way to go, in my opinion. Again, feel free to. There's some more comments coming in the chat. I really do appreciate any comments. If you've been following me on Twitter, but you're new to the live stream, hope you're enjoying the handicapping, and please feel free to put any comments that you see as well. So the first horse I liked that was interesting as a price was Joy Epifora. The second horse that I thought was interesting, I'm not sure what price you're going to get on Enforceable. I think you might even get that 8-1 that we saw. He's a goofball. If he feels like running on Saturday, I really believe in my heart with the extra distance, I think he can win if he runs his best race. Now, I have to pause for a second. I have a big marriage contract with a horse in the next race, which is the Fairgrounds Oaks. These are for 3-year-old fillies, and I'll switch to the past performances in a second. I have been talking and chasing about a horse in this race for 2 months. I've bet her the last 2 times. She's been disappointing, but I think there's reasons why. And finally, thank you, Mark Casse. Finally, there's a huge jockey change on the horse that I wanted. I almost wrote a letter to Mark Casse, or I almost sent him a tweet. I didn't do it, but I have mentioned on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you could probably go through my tweets. And I said, please, Mark Casse, please make a jockey change on this horse because I think she has talent and we haven't been able to see it yet. Let's get to that race that I'm talking about. It's the Fairgrounds Oaks. It is the penultimate race in the pick four and pick five sequence. This is, sorry about that. It's race 13. It is a mile and 16th for restricted 3-year-old fillies, grade 2, $400,000 purse. There's a lot on the line here. There's a lot of points here um, that horses can achieve to get into the Oaks. Some of these horses have to win or finish second to even qualify for the Kentucky Oaks. This is a pretty small field. It's only an 8-horse field. Let's run through the field very quick. Um, we have Zagil, and I believe someone made a comment on. Let's see where. Yes, Maiden Focus. There's a rider change that Sayas, who was on Zagil, is actually getting off Zagil. So, but you know what? Main Focus, he gets IRAD, or she gets IRAD. So, fair enough. That the whole jockey gymnastics, it's a tricky game that if you want to play that game, I try to play it too. But going from Sayas to Irad Ortiz is definitely not a downgrade. So I don't really know the background story there. Anyway, Zagil's the one. You have Moon Swag, who raced in the Rachel Alexandra, which we're going to talk about a little bit last month. Super Sensational, the 3 for Mark Cassie. Number 4, Lil Tootsie, who is Saya's. So, as Maiden Focus pointed out in the chat, he correctly pointed out that Saya's decides to go to the 4 instead of the 1. You have Obligatory coming off a maiden win for Bill Mott. And then you have the 2 horses that are going to be favored in this race. You have Clairiere, who ran a fantastic race in the Rachel Alexandra in her 3-year-old debut last time. And you have the 7, Al Malocchio, I don't think has any shot at all. And then you have Travel Column, who was the favorite in the race a month ago and just got nipped at the wire by Clairiere. So let me talk about my horse first that I absolutely have to talk about because if I'm right about this, and I hope you're right, we're going to make a lot of money. I want to talk about Super Sensational, and you have to give me a moment because this is my girl. This is I have a marriage contract with her. If she does not now, those of you that followed me, remember the San Antonio Pick 6. I had a marriage contract with a horse called Whisper Not, and I said if Whisper Not does not win, I'm done with him. The divorce papers are going to be filed. Done. If Super Sensational might not win, okay? But to justify my opinion, I need Super Sensational to run well. What does that mean? In the money, finish close to the wire. I mean, be very respectable, like really good. Okay, if she doesn't win, okay, this is a tough field. But I need Super Sensational to run well. Otherwise, I will not touch her on dirt any longer, and I'll wait for her to come back to Woodbine. Super Sensational was fantastic in her first 2 starts. Okay, it was on the poly track, fine, up at Woodbine. I'm not going to show you the last 2 races in full. Feel free to watch them. You need to inspire. It's a little bit tricky to find these races that are owned by Churchill Downs Incorporated. If you go to YouTube, you could probably find these races, but we are going to watch the last race. So her race on January 16th, again, it was Declan Carroll. He's okay. He's not a bad jockey, but he's not a top jockey at all. Gave the most passive, ridiculous ride I've ever seen. This horse should have been up close to the pace, and you can see that Super Sensational was favored in that race 9-5. Okay, the last race, and guys, I can't be kind, and I'm not usually that rough on jockeys, to be honest. It's a very tough job. They've split second decisions they have to make. I'm not one of those people who just goes on and rails on and on about jockeys. That is not who I am. But the ride that Super Sensational got last time was absolutely atrocious, horrible, ridiculous. No, not just because I like her and I bet her. I think anyone who's watched a lot of horse racing and replays would say the same thing. Let's go watch a few key parts of this race that I think are worthwhile. We need to go back to my own YouTube channel for that. And we're going to watch portions. Actually, I think we're going to watch a lot of this race because I think it's worth mentioning. So this was the race. This is the Rachel Alexandra. This was a month ago. Clariere is the one. Super Sensational, the horse I love on Saturday, is the 2 in this race. Travel Calm is the 8. 1, 2, and 8 is what I want you to focus on in this race here. And okay, they're about to. All right, 1, 2, and 8. Now, the Super Sensational has shown speed in the past. She broke absolutely fine. I talked about this on the show last time. Okay, right now, a good, and I froze it. I didn't just add, this is when I froze it a month ago. Super Sensational should hold her position. Carroll should have been right up off of the 4. There's no reason to take back. You got a nice inside spot, but what does he do? He's already taking back for no reason. He lets this bomb set. You can see the hold. I mean, look at the hold. He's got a monster hold on this horse. Okay, he lets the 7 get in front of him. I have no idea why. He's steadied a little bit behind the trees, and you can see not what I mean. What in the world is he doing? This horse right now, in my opinion, should be up around here where I have the arrow, right around where Travel Column is, and he's choked this horse back to 6 lengths off the pace, and they weren't really going that fast. That is mistake number 1. I know you might think it's being nitpicky. It's not nitpicky. When you have tactical speed and you're in position, you have to keep it. You have to use it. All right, let's move on. This was me talking about the race a month ago. Sorry. We'll move on. All right. The other thing I want you to mention, and some of you might be more familiar with horse flesh and the way horses run more than others, but the main concern with a horse going from polytrack to dirt is that they don't like the kickback, right? This horse has never shown me in any way, shape, or form that she doesn't like the kickback, that she doesn't like being inside. She's not throwing her head around. I've never seen any indication on the track that she doesn't like the dirt. I just want to, mention that. So again, Carol's got a monster hold on this horse. She shouldn't be this far back in the first place. So I think that was pretty silly. Again, let me move forward a little bit here. Now, she's in between horses. Clariere is the one. He already came off the rail and let Clariere, the winner, up the inside. Now he's in between horses. Folks, you don't want to be in between horses on dirt. It's not a place you want to be. He still is just standing up in the saddle. He's got a hold on this horse. This horse has run. Now watch carefully. Now they're all bunching up. He still has run there on the 2. You have to watch the 2 carefully here. Clary, there's Travel Comes taking the lead. The 1 is Clariere. Now watch on the turn here. He hasn't really asked yet. He now it gets in tight, and you see right there. Do you see that? He stumbled and steadied. He almost fell down. Let me just show you that again one more time, in case you didn't see it. He had run. The horse, the hole closed right there. Boom. He steadied. The jock looked back, and I mean the race is over for her. She's got no shot from there, unless you're Zenyatta, and I don't even think Zenyatta would be able to close that. But look, she's still trying. Okay, is she making up ground? I mean, she still is running a little bit here, and this is a no chance trip. Meanwhile, the 2 top choices go on with it, and Super Sensational, is left in their wake. Sorry, right there, but he already pulled up on the horse. So that's just an awful. This is really a bad uh, effort in the saddle, in my opinion. The other thing I want to show you about this horse, I know I'm really trying to sell you on Super Sensational, but you know what? I've sold you on Idol in the past. If you've been paying attention, I've sold you on Mishriff. Of course, I'm wrong about certain picks. I've sold you on Concert Tour. This horse is like in that category. I really think this horse has a chance if Velasquez gives her the right trip, which I hope is an aggressive one. And if I'm wrong, I'll come on next week and say I was absolutely wrong about this horse. Let's take a look at the breeding a little bit of this horse. I think it's important. You say, well, maybe this horse just doesn't want dirt, right? Let's look at the family tree, okay? Here's Kateri was unraced. Her mother was unraced. The siblings, okay, not much. But look at the family tree. This Kateri, again, the mom of Super. Look at the breeding on the dam side. Indian Charlie. You really want to look at Indian Charlie's PPs? An absolute monster going long on dirt, right? The Grand Dam, Super Sensational's grandma, on the dam side, Sue's Good News. You're like, who is this horse? This is a nice. This was a nice distance. You see, she was staked grade threes. Here's some graded stakes going long. Won $218,000 out of Easy Goer. So Easy Goer is in this pedigree if you go far enough back. So here's what I'm saying. Mark Casse is not a dummy. Okay? If Mark Casse thought this horse just couldn't run on dirt, do you really think, ladies and gentlemen, do you really think he would keep going with this horse on dirt? I think not. The Woodbine meet is coming up starting next month. He would just take her back up to Woodbine, rest her up, and get her ready for those races. But he's continuing to go on with Super and Sensational. And finally, thank you, Mark Casse. Johnny Velasquez, a fantastic money rider, is on this horse. I'm hoping that she's close to the pace. She doesn't need the lead. I'm hoping she's close to the pace, gets a fair trip, and you know what? Let's see what happens. Will you get 15 to 1? I don't know. Hopefully, there aren't too many people listening to this show, or there aren't too many people who agree with me. I don't think you can get 15 to 1. I think we can easily get double digits, though. I think we can get 8, 10 to 1 on this horse. Wow. I know that was a long diatribe on Super Sensational. That is my opinion. Just a few comments. Trish, you understand what I see. Thank you. Jim said he watches a lot of Woodbine. Yes, I agree, Jim. I mean, I watched those races too. That race, the stake race that Super Sensational ran on October 17th, she was absolutely a monster in that race. I mean, look at this. Look at the time. I just don't think she's only a polytrack horse. I agree, Jim. She's a must use. Um, Gemini, thanks for joining us, Gemini. I've seen you on Twitter also. Thanks for joining me tonight. Gemini said maybe sensational, super sensational Mrs. Lasix. That is a very good point. And you know what, Gemini, I should talk about that more. Stake races, United States this year, no Lasix allowed. Um, so that's a fair point. That is a fair point, Gemini. But again, do you think Mark Casse would put this horse, let's just say, in danger, or think, if she really needs Lasix, I'm just going to keep running her without a diuretic and have her continue to run poorly? It's a fair point, but again, I think there has to be some, trainer intent here, guys. And Mark Cassie's continuing on with this horse. I think he believes in this horse. He's bringing Johnny Velasquez in to ride. You guys all make very good points. Let's talk about Lil Tootsie because Maiden Focus likes Lil Tootsie. Um, I have Lil Tootsie as a well. Before we talk about Lil Tootsie, Maiden, let me just finish real quick. My other A's are the obvious ones. Clairiere, who got a fantastic ride by Talmo last time. She's an A for me. And Travel Column, who was unbelievable in in the Goldenrod. If you want to watch a replay, watch the Goldenrod on November 28th at Churchill. Let me just get some water here. Excuse me. Travel Column was awesome in that Goldenrod race. She was the favorite last time. I think she was just a little bit short. I mean, she could blow up on Saturday and win by 4 or 5. Wouldn't surprise me. So those are my other A's. So I'm going 3, 6, 8 is A's. I promise, main focus. I'll get to your 4. The horse that I'm interested in also at a price is the 5 obligatory. Bill Mott is a very patient trainer. Bill Mott does not um, put horses in stake races just because. You have to watch this race. And I know I'm taking some time tonight, but that's why you're here. I think if you can beat Clairiere or Travel Column with any of these horses, your pick 4 and your pick 5 is going to blow up. So I'm trying to beat Clairiere and Travel Column on Saturday. It might not happen, but it could. Please watch Obligatory. Obligatory is the one in this race here. This is her maiden breaking score. Now, she faced Front Street and Precipitate. The horse that came second and third are pretty good horses. Obligatory is the one, and I want you to see how much trouble Obligatory gets into. So watch the one in this race, and we're going to watch the whole thing because I think it's worth watching. She's the gray on the inside, breaks a little bit slow, right? Breaks a little slow. The post one going a mile on Gulfstream is not easy. You see, she's pretty much in last here right now. She's taking a lot of dirt. Now she sort of gains her momentum. She splits horses in between, and she's rating pretty kindly here. I like the fact that she can take some dirt. So I like that. Now the horse, you see the 7 Cubs up on her outside. So now the jock has got to ask to hold his position on the 1. And now again, she's in between horses. This is not usually a comfortable spot for a young horse to be in. And you see the pace is decent, 23 and 1, 46 and 1. Now you see right here, you think, wait a minute, she might be done as horse on the outside passes. But you can see, look, she's got a hold. She's a big horse, and once right here, once she gets into the bit, and once the jock gets her to the outside, at Gulfstream Park, this is a very, very impressive. I mean, you don't see horses, run down others at this distance too often from this far back. But once she levels out, she really closes well. Again, she switches lead professionally. I love the way this horse is traveling. I really like. He goes left-handed. I really like this effort on obligatory, and she just blows by to get the victory there. Very long striding horse. I think this horse has a bright future. I like obligatory. I'm using obligatory in this race. Sorry, let me just switch here. I'm using obligatory as my only B in this race. I know this is a big ask, but I mean, she got an 82. That's right in the ballpark. She's been working steadily. I think she's interesting. Again, for the famous Judmont Silks, she's going to be gray. It'll be easy to see her. I'm using obligatory as a B. Now, I know Maiden Focus, you've been very patient. Let's talk about Lil Tootsie. Um, Lil Tootsie ran a huge buyer 2 starts back. She was sprinting. She got an 89. That is a fantastic buyer speed figure, and she did it in hand. Tom Amos, who I have a lot of respect for, put this horse going long, and she won, but she regressed to an 80. Now, did she regress because of the distance? Did she regress because of the slop? I'm not so sure. I watched that race, and I had to say I was not overly impressed by it. I know it's her first time going long, but I do not like the fact that she regressed. And I think if you look at the dam side, I'm concerned about the distance. Here's the dam in formative style. So the mother of Lil Tootsie was a sprinter. You can go about, you can look at the siblings that the dam produced. You see stylish citizen, nothing really special on the poly. You've got Watch This Cat, who is a fast sprinter. You have Point Blake, sprinter. Ultimate Question, sprinter. Anyway, we can keep going down. But my concern here, Maiden Focus, is that I think Lil Tootsie might be better going shorter. The other thing is I don't understand the 4-1 morning line at all. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this horse should be, 8, 10 to 1. If you get a bigger price and you like this horse, I can see using her more than I think. But I'm concerned about the distance with this horse. I don't like the regression. These horses, bump up and down though. But I'm not sure I like the regression. Maiden Focus said the second place finisher, Euphoric, came back to win by 10. Good point. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it was a live race. Yes, there it is. But again, it's a sprint. That was a sprint race. So sure, listen, she beat a talented horse. I'm going to give you that. I'm not saying that this horse is not talented, Maiden Focus, or anyone else watching. I think Lil Tootsie's talented. I'm concerned about the distance. That's all I'm trying to say. Um, let's see. The Clear Travel column ran slower than the main allowance race on that same card. Yeah, I wasn't really blown away by Clarier and Travel column, but you have to remember also, ladies and gentlemen, that was their first race of the year. I mean, they are not cranked up main focus for that race. You have to think they're going to be better on Saturday, but your point is definitely taken. So anyway, that is my opinion. I am very, 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 very interested in Super Sensational. So I'm using Super Sensational, by the way, in my trifecta. I think a great bet, and this is just for me, okay? But I think one of my favorite vertical bets is to take a horse that's between, 8 to 1, 15 to 1, somewhere in that range, and key this horse in all spots. So I'm going to play Super Sensational in the pick five, of course, and the pick four. But I'm going to put Super Sensational in first, second, and third in tries with probably Clarier, Travel Column, and obligatory. So, for example, I will play a try 3 with 5, 6, 8 with a bunch of horses. Then I will go 5, 6, 8 with 3 with a bunch of horses. Let me put myself back on camera here. And then I will go 5, 6, 8 with a bunch of horses with 3. So I'm going to put super. This is what I did with Mishriff. This is what I like to do with sort of some of my favorite long shots. I might even do the same thing with Joy Befora. The problem is that there's so many horses in that race, a trifecta is going to start getting expensive. So I'm going to play Super Sensational in all spots in that race. Um, Again, any comments are welcome. We've got a lot of people watching. I really appreciate your comments and questions. And again, if you're watching this after the live stream, below there on the video player, you can state any thoughts you have about the pick five, NCAA long shot pick, and Kentucky Derby pick. All right, let's get to the. I'm sorry, one other horse I didn't even really talk about too much. That you're probably thinking, why did he just pass over that horse? I do not. Well, I don't like Moonswag. I do not like Zagil at all. I am totally against this Todd Pletcher. I'm using her as a C defensively. I don't think she's going to be 8 to 1. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes a lot of money. Listen, it's Pletcher and Irad. You don't think this horse is going to take money? This horse is going to take money. But she just seems awfully slow. That last race that she was in, no one that was a very bad field. The only horse that came out of the race that won was Whole Bodymeister. Does that name sound familiar? Yeah, she's like the 70 to 1 shot that won at Gulfstream, but that race was a complete aberration. You could go down and look at these other horses. She's just coming out of a weak race. She's run 2 slow races. It's a tough spot. I don't like the one at all. I'm using her uh, as a C. All right, let's talk about the last race of the sequence. This is the big one in terms of prestige and purse. This will end your pick four, pick five sequence. It is the grade two. $1 million. That's right, $1 million. Louisiana Derby, mile and 3/16. They've extended out the distance. Starting last year, it used to be a mile and eighth. They're going an extra 16th of a mile. I actually like that a lot. It's almost the distance as the Derby. It's $1 million purse. It's a grade two. There's 100 points um, on the line here. Actually, more than that. Sorry. The winner gets 100 points. So the winner of this race is going to the Derby, or at least qualify for the Derby without question. The second place finisher will get 40 points. That usually is enough to get into the Derby. So it's fair to say the horses that finish 1, 2 will have enough qualifying points to get in to the Derby. Let's take a look at this field. So I got to make a small adjustment with my screen here. This is a pretty small field, actually. This is only an 8-horse field, which is very unusual for the Louisiana Derby. Usually they get, 10, 12, 13. So it's a smaller field. And you're going to see a lot of horses that look familiar. You've got Starring in My Dreams for Dallas Stewart on the rail, a big price. Right and Just, another big price. You have Run Classic, who I think is a bit interesting in this race. This is a run happy, and I think this is one of the better run happies that have hit the track so far. You have Proxy, who has run the last 2 times in the La Comp and the Risen Star against 2 other horses in this race. You have Hot Rod Charlie, a very interesting spot for Leandra Mora from Doug O'Neill. This horse is coming in from California. This is only his second start of the year. He finished second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, if you remember, at almost 95 to 1 last fall at Keeneland. Then you have Mandaloon, 8 to 5 morning line favorite. Very nice horse for Brad Cox and Florent Giroux, who won his last start against some of these in the Risen Star. Midnight Bourbon, who's been close to Mandaloon and Proxy in the two prep races at Fairgrounds. And you have the 8 Obesos uh, in this race, who also ran last time in the Risen Star. Let's take a look at the last race that a lot of these horses ran in, which is the Risen Star, which I'm going to show you right now here. Give me a second. We're just going to get right to it. So this was the Risen Star from a month ago. Star in my dreams is the 1. Proxy is the 2. Midnight Bourbon is the 6. Obesos is the 7. Mandaloon is the 11. Again, the horses you really want to focus on are the 2, 6, and 11. But I also want you to notice the 1 in this race a little bit too. The 1 broke a little bit slow, by the way. Just to keep that, just to mention that. You see the 11 Mandaloon got a great trip. Midnight Bourbon the 6. Really, the 2, 6, and 11 all got very good trips. I want to pause, just watch the 1 though a little bit. The 1, who was not a factor in this race at all. You see his rank steadied and bothered a bunch of horses right there, and is throwing his head around. He was all over the place. The 1 had a very rough. You can see the 1 is still throwing his head around right there. He got a sort of a rough trip. But anyway, you got Midnight Bourbon the 6, Mandaloon, Proxy. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. They all got very comfortable trips. There's nothing really hidden to watch here. Midnight Bourbon takes over. Mandaloon on the outside, the 11. Proxy also getting a very nice trip. Obesos is the 7. They turn for home. Midnight Bourbon takes the lead. And then here's Mandaloon coming over the top for Giroux, takes the lead, and the Judmont Silks there. Mandaloon's got a very nice long stride, you can see right there. Proxy is the 2 coming the outside. Obesos is the 7. They finish 1, 2, 3. Mandaloon wins the race. I love the way the Mandaloon runs. He's got a very long stride. He doesn't seem to me one of those horses really that has gears. I'm not sure he can like stop and start, but Mandaloon is bred to run all day out of Empire Maker. I really think distance is going to be his friend. I'm using Mandaloon as a lone A. And it's not because I think Mandaloon absolutely, towers over this field. Obviously, he doesn't. But as the distances get longer, I like Mandaloon more and more. And so I think the distance is going to suit him. I like Mandaloon on top. Just some other people mentioning in the chat. Um, yes, main focus. I'm going to talk about Run Classic because I thought his maiden breaker was very good. Trish mentions that she just plans on using Mandaloon and Midnight Bourbon. Um, that Midnight Bourbon's gonna be overlooked. I have a pretty strong opinion on Midnight Bourbon. I'm gonna share with you in a second, Trish. Um, will you get Midnight Bourbon as an overlay? Very possibly. Midnight Bourbon is 5-1 morning line. We might. Maiden Focus said it's hard not to like Mandaloon. His time matched up with Maxfield. Um, yes, I would agree. You know, I don't 8 to 5 seems a little bit short to me in terms of a morning line. But I think Mandaloon is absolutely the horse to beat. The B's in this race I'm using are Proxy. Proxy's getting blinkers on. This horse is out of Panty Raid and Tappet. Distance should be his friend. He can absolutely win. He's a B for me. And the other B I'm using is Hot Rod Charlie. I like the fact that this is only his second start this year. I like the California Class against Medina Spirit. Roman Centurion didn't run great next time, um, but I think this horse has some class, and I think this is a great spot to pick because I don't think there's any you know superstars in this race. I think Hot Rod Charlie can absolutely win this race for Joel Rosario. So I do like him, and I'm using him as a B. And I'm using 3 horses as C's. Now, again, this might be crazy. I might throw him off the ticket. Start in My Dreams was the 1 in the race we saw. The thing that I think is interesting about the 1 is Dallas Stewart does not train a lot of precocious horses. Dallas Stewart is known for being very patient. He runs bombs in the Derby and always finishes like second and third. Um, so I think this horse wants to go long. I think going longer will be better. You saw that he was off slow in rank. I mean, that last race was a disaster. He's been working very well. I don't think Starting in My Dreams will win this race, but if this horse like hits the trifecta at 25 to 1, like clunking up for second or third, it would not completely shock me at all. Probably not a candidate to win. Run Classic. I'm not going to show his replay. However, I totally agree with Maiden Focus. Run Classic looks like a pretty big horse. He looks professional. I like his size. I like his scope. He did run on the same day as the races that we've watched, and he ran a very comparable time to some other horses. Again, it's a lot to ask coming back off a maiden win to win this kind of race, going another eighth of a mile. But I do think Run Classic is talented, and he's also Triple Crown nominated. It would not shock me if Run Classic won, but this is a big ask. I'm sure they would be ecstatic if this horse got second and got a chance to run in the Derby. And the other horse is a C. And so, Trish, I'm using Midnight Bourbon as a C. My impression on Midnight Bourbon, Trish, and again, I could be wrong, is I don't think distance is necessarily going to be his friend. Two starts back on the Lecomte. He just stole it on the front end. But Proxy and Mandaloun were coming after him in that race. And I think if the race was longer, I don't think he would have won. Last time, as you saw, he got a perfect trip, no excuse. And Mandaloun and Proxy went by him in the stretch. Again, not by a lot, but he did go by him. My gut feeling is Midnight Bourbon is not going to be better as the races go longer. He's bred out of Tiz Now. I love Tiz Now. Tiz Now is one of my favorite horses of all time, out of Malibu Moon. So he's bred to get the distance. I could be very wrong about Midnight Bourbon. If I can, I'm going to move this horse up to a B because he's been very competitive against Proxy and Mandaloun. There's just something inside of me that tells me that distance, I don't like the way this horse has been finishing, and I really think that distance is not his friend. Just my opinion. I think Mandaloun looks like he can run all day. I full disclosure, I have a small future bet on Mandaloun, about 26 to 1 to win the Derby. This horse has to improve a lot, but it looks like he can run all day. I think he's getting better. I like Brad Cox. If he's in the Derby already with points, I think Mandaloun is actually an interesting long shot in the Kentucky Derby if he continues to improve. I agree with Peter Appleby completely. Peter, I agree with you. I think more distance is going to be his friend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about at that time now where we need to go and take a look at the pick five and pick four tickets. Now, again, like I said, I like to play pick fives. The first race of the sequence was that very difficult filly and mare turf race. So if you don't want to play the pick five because that race is just too much of a cluster for you, I totally get it. The thing about the pick four is it might be chalky. That's another reason why I like the pick five. If it's very possible, Mandaloun could win in the pick four. Obviously, Colonel Liam can easily win the turf race. If Clarier and Travel Column win, they're going to be short prices. And then you've got the New Orleans Classic. We have Owendale and Roadster. Those aren't going to be prices. So this is going to be an interesting sequence. What's strange is if you've been, watching if you've been following me the last 2 months, it seems like several times in the last month there's that one bomb. We've had like at Laurel about a month ago a 40 shot one, a 40 to 1 shot one. At Gulfstream a few weeks ago a 50 to 1 shot one. At Oaklawn last week. We had a Mandy L, I think it was the name. That horse was like 40 to 1. So I've not had a lot of success in hitting pick fives recently because, I mean, listen, I have bombs sometimes, just the bombs that have won I didn't have. But I've been correct about horses within sequences that have either got me up for the day or, even for the day. I think this pick four and pick five can pay. You just have to figure out in which race do you want to go chalky and which race do you not. Let's take a look at my pick five. Now again, you don't have to spend this much money. I understand that that this is a bigger ticket than most people would play. Again, I highly encourage you, if you like this ticket and you want to play it with me, go, and that money is way too much for you. Get some friends together, pool your money together, and play this ticket. Because folks, we're going to be hitting. Listen, if you watched my Stronach 5, we're going to hit the Stronach 5, right? So you're going to have some extra money to play with. I'm chuckling because the Stronach 5 is a very difficult sequence, by the way. Oh, before I forget, let me put myself on camera. Sorry. And I'm not going to tweet this out. So if you are betting the Stronach 5 tomorrow on Friday, there's a horse that I completely overlooked I want to mention right now in case he wins. So let me just mention this quickly. I believe it is leg Actually, I know. It's leg 3 of the Stronach 5 tomorrow. It's the ninth race at Laurel, the 12 horse. I did not mention the 12 at all. I said the 8 was a sneaky long shot. I'm downgrading the 8 and I'm upgrading the 12 in the leg 3 of the Stronach 5. This horse has a huge trainer change with decent works in an awful field. So again, I just want to mention that if you're playing the Stronach 5 tomorrow, I'm upgrading the 12 as a B horse in the third leg of the sequence. I'm downgrading the 8 from an A to a B in the third leg of the Stronach 5 tomorrow. I just wanted to mention that. All right, so there's my ABC pick 5 ticket. You can see I'm very spready in the first leg. This all could change based on scratches and other things. I'm taking two stands. I'm taking a stand with Colonel Liam in the turf race in race 12, and I'm taking a stand with Mandaloon as the lone A's. Um, of course, Mandaloon in the Louisiana Derby. Those are my two lone A's. I don't feel comfortable with any other lone A's in the sequence. And again, you don't have to play this ticket. If you like my A's, the all A's would be 5 by 2 by 1 by 3 by 1. That is 10. That is a $15. That's right, $15 pick 5 if you want to play all my A's. Or you could play just all the A's and B's. That's going to be more, but it's not going to be some astronomical amount. Again, play as you wish. Use my opinions as a guide. Do whatever you think is best. There's the ABC ticket. Again, the reason why my ticket is fairly large, as I've said before, I'm sitting on my hands. It's pretty much my only horizontal play of the day. But oh boy, am I going to be betting some verticals? You know I'm betting Joy Epifera. I'm throwing some money on Enforceable. And my girl, super sensational. I'm using her in all spots in a try. So even if I don't hit the pick 5, I can still have a profitable day uh, on Saturday. Let's take a look at my Caveman pick 5 and pick 4. I also have a pick 4 ticket for you. My Caveman pick 5 is $162. You can see it there. To me, the most likely winner of the sequence is Colonel Liam. I almost thought the most likely winner was Mandaloon, but there's horses in that race that have been very close to him. If he doesn't get the trip, he doesn't have to win that race. I just think Colonel Liam in the Munez Turf race just is the best horse in that race on class. I think he's a few lengths better than anyone in that field. As long as Colonel Liam gets a decent trip, I really like him a lot. He's the one horse I would single if I were to play a caveman ticket, a pick 5 ticket. And you can see, you want to play a little pick 4 just for fun? There would be my pick 4 caveman ticket. And I have some prices in there to try to make some money. I've got the 5 enforceable in there. I'm chalky in the second leg with Factor This and Colonel Liam. I go a little bit deeper in the Philly race, including the obligatory, the 5, the maiden that I liked from Gulfstream, and of course my girl Super Sensational, and then I'm 4, 5, 6 in the last race there. That would be Mandaloon, Proxy, and Hot Rod Charlie. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my pick 5 sequence at the fairgrounds. I'm just going to take a look at the chat here. Again, we still have a lot of people watching, and I, again, greatly appreciate it. Please, right now, if you have any questions you like to ask me about the pick five sequence, about anything about the Derby, about anything coming up in horse racing, anything at all. Now would be a great time as I just look over at the chat if you have uh, any questions. By the way, I think Illinois. Now I am from the Chicago area, so I'm a little biased, but I think University of Illinois, by the way, in the NCAA tournament is for real. Last time I checked, I saw 10-1 on this horse. I saw 10-1 on this team to win the whole thing. Um, I might be putting down a little uh, win bet to win the whole thing. Illinois 10-1 in the NCAA tournament. But anyway, that's besides the point. Um, if I have enough money in Vegas after golf and I like playing Texas Hold'em and whatever, maybe I'll lay a few bucks down. I'll probably play the ponies a little bit during the week out there also. Um, so again, coming up, I'm going to be having a I will put a weekend recap show. um, it's probably gonna. I'm leaving Sunday for Las Vegas, so I will either put up early Sunday morning or late Saturday night. I'll put up a recap show the best I can, and then again next week plan on a 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, a week from tonight, previewing an unbelievable day at Gulfstream, and also I'm going to preview the Dubai World Cup. Now on Saturday, Fairgrounds is pretty much the only real game in town in terms of real stake races all over the place. There's going to be a ton of money in these pools at Fairgrounds, at the Fairgrounds on Saturday. No matter how much money you have in your pocketbook, it's not a contest. Listen, whether you are a $5 better or $100 better, you, Fairgrounds is the place you want to be on Saturday, in my opinion, because the pools are gonna be great. Also, if you want to watch the whole card, and again, it depends how much time you have on Saturday, etc. There are 5 main special weight races, and there's a lot of horses in these special weight races that have big pedigrees and big price tags on them. So I might even take a look at those maiden races also and see if there's any future stars come out of that race. Jeffrey, thank you for joining the show. You're a new subscriber, Jeffrey. Thank you very much, guys. Please make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. I need subscribers to help grow the channel. I have a lot of big plans for this YouTube channel. I'm not doing it for the money. I just love horse racing and talking about it. I like to bring on some guests on the show. I like to get some sponsors on the show. Again, this YouTube channel is only like a month and a half old, but I need some more subscribers. Please tell your friends if you enjoy what you've heard. Please spread the word. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I have videos up, and then also please follow me if you're on Twitter at hkravitz. You see the scroll down below for the spelling, because on Saturdays I always put out changes after scratches come out. I upgrade and downgrade certain horses. Um, Jeff, you mentioned your new subscriber. How has Fairgrounds been playing? Jeff, I'm going to be honest. I do not play the Fairgrounds on a consistent basis. I don't know if anyone out there in the chat or watching tonight, or even if you're watching this even Friday or Saturday, the replay of this show, comment down below and help out Jeff on sort of the track bias at the Fairgrounds. I have not watched a lot of races at the Fairgrounds, Jeff. I will say the turf course now. This is important. Jeff, a year ago, when they ran these races, they take the rails down. So the rails are going to be down on the turf course. What does that mean? Two things. That means the inside 3 or 4 paths are going to be nice and fresh. So in theory, you want to be on the inside on the turf course where the grass will be better. Also, last year, the turf was very speed favoring, but if I recall, that turf was very firm and very fast, and that's not going to be the case on Saturday. So, anything I would say on Saturday in terms of the turf, Jeff, is you probably want to be more towards the inside saving ground on the fresher part of the turf course. But then again, when it's a little wetter, usually you want to be on the outer paths because sometimes the water drains down to the inside part of the turf course. I know I'm giving you mixed messages, but you wanted information. I'm giving it to you. It's hard to say. The dirt usually is pretty fair. I have not seen a bias, but what you really should do I'm going to do this, is you need to watch some of the races before the pick 4 or 5. I mean, don't just turn on your TV at, let me just check the time of the sequence. Actually, I don't have the time in front of me. Let me just check real quick when the sequence starts. I apologize. Let me just get this up. Um, at 4:42 Eastern time. So 4:42 Eastern time is when it starts. Sorry, you didn't see that, but 4:42 is when the pick 5 starts. Jeff, don't start watching the races at 4:42. Watch some of the earlier races, see how the track is playing. The dirt's going to be fast, I almost guarantee it. So you'll have to see how that is playing. It does not look like, unless there's any other questions, I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, Trish, sorry. UK didn't make it. You know what? Listen, Mr. Calipari, they've had plenty of success. I know that's your team. Sorry, I don't feel too bad for Kentucky. I don't feel too bad for Duke. Sorry, see ya. You've won enough. You've been in the tournament enough. Let some other people win. Get some fresh faces in there. Believe me, the Kentucky will be back. Okay, the Wildcats will be back in full force. No worry, no concern there. So it doesn't look like anyone else has any other questions. I cannot thank you guys enough. Again, subscribe, comments down below, whether you're watching live or whether you're going to watch the replay of this before Saturday. Follow me on Twitter. I appreciate all the questions tonight. It was a fantastic chat, a great show. Look for my recap um, of what happened on Saturday. Cheer Super Sensational on with me if you like what I had to say. And if you don't and you think I'm crazy, that's okay too. And then a week from tonight, live stream an hour later. You'll see on Twitter. I'll have announcements. 9 p.m. Eastern, previewing the great day at Gulfstream for the Florida Derby and also the Dubai World Cup. Thanks again, everyone. Wish me luck on Saturday and at Vegas. Again, if you happen to be out there, send a direct message on Twitter. Maybe we can get together out in Vegas next week. Good luck on Saturday with all your bets. This has been Howard Kravitz for Howard's Horse Handicapping. Take care, everyone. Good luck and good night.